All right, we have 1,000 points of Ogors versus 1,000 points of Seraphon. And we have Zardos, the Magnificent, is in charge of the Seraphon, and in charge of the Ogors is Drew Baca. I'm not going to put my face on video at the moment, because you already know who I am. But yeah, this is the 4x4 table we're playing on. We have a giant hill on that edge. We got 2 forests here, and then we have 2 of these kind of building things over here. So yeah, that is our that's our battlefield, and the Seraphon are going to be placing first. We are doing blood and glory. There is 1 objective in each of the centers of the 2x2 sections of the table. They are controlled by more models than the other guy. So right now, Seraphon have 2, Ogres have 2, at least according to deployment. And then we'll see how this goes. Anything else I need to tell them?
The Ogres suck, Lizards rule.
Alright, the Ogre with, the Butcher with the choppy hands. He is the warlord, the general for the Ogres, and he has Wild Fury, which means after he takes a wound, he now hits better, so +1 to his hit, and he has the Battered Talisman, which means he can ignore mortal wounds on a 5-up. The Slann has
the Great Rememberer, which lets him use the teleportation ability that the Slann have for their allegiance ability twice per turn instead of once per turn. Basically, I can slingshot a unit across the table if I want to.
Oh boy. So the Slann is going to teleport guys he chooses to somewhere else twice per turn.
He also has the Prism of Amatox, which lets him once per game target a unit within 12 inches and roll a d6. On a 1, he deals that unit a mortal wound. On a 2 through 5, he deals d3 mortal wounds, and on a 6, he deals d6 mortal wounds.
Ow, that's gonna hurt.
We'll see.
Alrighty then, and this is the beginning of turn 1. Go Seraphon, because it's your turn. At the end of turn 1,
massive damage dealt.
What are you?
Seraphon.
The Seraphon. I want to keep calling you the Slann, but that's the guy on the throne.
That's a Slann. Everybody else.
They decided to move forward a little bit
because we could fly.
Not shoot anything because nothing was in range, and they banked 10 celestial points.
Celestial summoning points.
Celestial summoning points. They got 10. It only takes
18.
18 to summon the
Engine of the Gods.
Engine of the Gods, and 24 to summon the Basilodon with the laser cannon on it.
It's even worse because if for less points I can summon heroes and units of guys and just units on the table.
The Ironguts moved forward and ran over here because they're going to go take that objective.
Totally kill these Skinks.
Probably going to smash the Skinks to death. The giant block of Ogre Bulls have decided to run forward and not get anywhere else because they're just too far away. The Butcher got an amazing run. Was not able to cast his spell. He did successfully cast it, and then the Slann said no, because I rolled a 6 and the Slann rolled an 8.
Frogs don't care.
So Frog don't care. The Banner decided not to move,
but he did
planted his Rune Maw. So from that point right there, within 6 inches of that blue die, units on a 4-up could have taken D3 wounds, and I rolled a 2 and a 3 respectively for the unit of 10 Saurus Guard and the
Eternity
Warden. The Leadbelchers were not close enough to shoot anything, and they decided not to run because they're outside of 12 inches from that block of 10 guys. Not that they're really probably going to run, because they actually get benefits of not moving. They get more hits and do better damage, I believe.
They have the potential. Well, they do more damage. They do D3 instead of 1.
They do D3 damage instead of 1 damage, but they don't get more attacks. So now it's time for turn 2. End of the first turn, the Ogres have this objectives and this objective. The Seraphon have that objective and that objective. So it is tied 2-2 at the moment. And so during the hero phase, the Slann decided to bank his spells and not cast spells, and just banked 10 more points, and then summoned a big dinosaur with the Engine of the Gods on it, which then went off and he summoned 20 Skinks. So there are 2 more dinosaur units on the table that weren't there before.
They brought guns.
And they brought guns. Yeah, this is turning into not a good day for the Ogres.
Oh, it's going to be a great day for the Ogres.
Now we'll do the move, shoot, charge, and combat phase of the Seraphon. Alright, so at the end of turn 2 for the Seraphon, the dinosaur showed up, the Skinks showed up, and then they ate 80% of my Leadbelcher unit. The champion of the Leadbelchers only has 2 wounds left. He hit once and then failed to wound.
Before he was punching a skink, it was
The
quite nimble.
Skinks. Yeah, the Ogres are real sad right now. And the Banner Bear is like, wait a minute, I don't have this objective anymore, because there are 6 Seraphon models within close enough to be a problem here. So yeah, this really could be a problem. Alright, so the hero phase for the Ogres. The Butcher yelled at those guys. They moved 6 inches forward. Not really probably very necessary at the moment, because now they're within 3 of those Skinks. And
well, they're
yeah,
just outside of 3 of those Skinks.
Yeah, they're just outside of the 3. You're right. He tried to yell at himself and didn't get to move.
He wasn't feeling it.
And I tried to Voracious Maw. I got the spell off from the Butcher to these Skinks, and we killed 2 of the 20 Skinks. Now there are only 18 left. And then the Voracious Maw burped. So yeah. Turn, the Banner Bear decided to charge the dinosaur. The dinosaur has 5 wounds left.
5 wounds left.
And this is collectively through the single Leadbelcher who was left and the Banner Bear.
They did good work.
The Banner Bear was stomped to death after he was viciously stabbed by the pointy horns.
Pretty hard, and then he got stomped.
Yeah, that was probably not the best idea for the Banner Bear, but he does better damage in close combat than he does with the Banner. So I decided to try to kill the dinosaur.
Yeah, arguably it was a good call.
And the Skinks are arguably not good at their job.
I don't know, they brought down that last Leadbelcher.
It was only 2 wounds.
There's 18 of them. Statistically, that matters.
Yeah, but they're just not great at their job of stabbing things, at least in close combat. So the Butcher is facing 19 models on this half of the table. The Ogres migrated to the other half of the table. The Skinks that they charged ran away.
They went, nope.
Yeah, they can, instead of piling in, can flee?
Yeah.
Or was that supposed to be done in the movement phase?
No, that's when they choose to pile in, they can instead choose to withdraw.
Okay. Good deal. So, yeah. But I have 2 objectives. I have that one, and I have that one. And the Lizardmen have that one, and that one. So we are still tied at 4 points now. Now we roll off. End of turn 2. The Ogre characters are dead. The dinosaur ate the Butcher. The Butcher would have preferred that the other way, but nah. This group of 12 Ogres decided to run into some Skinks and completely wipe them off the table. There's some dudes back there which are gonna just bubble and keep the frog alive. Yeah, so bad stuff's gonna happen there.
He's admitting the fact that the Skinks charged the Ogres, but sure.
Yes, I'm sorry, the Skinks charged the Ogres. I'm not sure why they did that.
Because they were going to try and jump across the other side.
Oh, that's right, because then they can just go, hey, we're going to go in our movement phase and we're flying and we're going to just teleport on the other side of you. Yep. And I think we're pretty much going to call it at this point. We're currently at 2-2 and would have been Ogre's turn, but we'll figure out what would have happened later. All right, folks, so at the end of our time in the store, we ended at about, I think it was turn 3.5, because we had 3 turns of Seraphon, only 2 turns of Ogres, so it was ready for Ogres to do combat. We did the math and figured out that if the Ogres make their charge, which they probably will because they're going to get to 3 inches, excuse me, they're already at 3 inches, and they're going to envelop some stuff. But if the big block of Ogres and the block of 3 Ironguts get to combat, there's going to be, I'm going to call it 2 to 4 of the Seraphon units, Seraphon models in the 10 and in the block of 10 and the block of 5 still on the table at the end of that turn. And if the Ogres get the double turn, then some nasty things happen. Because we might be able to eat the frog wizard, which would be really cool. But yeah, at the end of the third turn, there's not many Seraphon units still on the table. If a couple things go in the Ogre's favor, then of those 2 units, there's nobody left, which would be really nice. But I don't know about that. So Zardos is thinking that Drubaka's going to win, and Drubaka's not thinking I'm going to win at this point. Because he still has the Frog Wizard and he can teleport things. But if my turn goes well and I get the double turn off, then it's much more likely in my favor. And then I'll end up having to play the game of go fetch the dinosaur and his 18 little friends. And then it'll be 2 units versus 2 units. And my 2 units would be much better off than his 2 units are, because his dinosaur is 5 wounds from being dead, and his Skinks, there's 18 of them, and can run away from combat, but they can't hold all of the objectives at the same time. And if I can tie them up and like smash them to pieces, then I could probably get him. The fact that the Ogres can nominate a general and then go, hey, we're still going to do rampaging destroyers on a 4-up with this giant block of dudes, or the little block of hateful dudes, also known as Ironguts. The fact that we can do that each turn and we move 6 inches on top of that means that we can chase some things down fairly quickly on a 4x4 table. So not really sure who would have won, but if you have some thoughts, go ahead and post those in the comments. And yeah, that's Zardos and Drubaka's first game of Age of Sigmar 2nd edition.